www.flashingbladepodcast.net. It's time to do some reviewing.
You've got to fight for what you want, for all that you believe. It's right to fight for what we want, to live the way we please. As long as we have done our best, then no one can do more. And life and love.
Hello there. Welcome to the Flushing Bloke podcast VidiProg thing. And now, from the worlds of BBC Television's Doctor Who, it's Doctor Who. Hello, I'm Siobhan. That in there is a panda. No, it's not. It looks like a panda. It's Dr. Sinister.
Hello.
Hello. You've still got that.
Yeah, it won't clean off.
Yeah, we're actually recording this in between other episodes that we've already recorded. So the poll's not looking good for the moustache at the moment.
And there is going to be a hair discrepancy because in the next episode I'm going to have longer hair again.
Are you? Oh, I really noticed. Oh, actually saying that, yeah, I've also done my hair, so sort of rather Khaleesi-ish. Where are my dragons? So, deep breath. We did that joke in the last show.
Oh,
Yeah. The 14th Doctor Who crash lands his TARDIS on the banks of the River Thames. Well,
care of something
gets
else.
spat out of a dinosaur, to be honest. Clara comes out also looking like she's had sex. And, yes, Madam, obviously Victorian era, so therefore it has to be Madam Vastra. Can't be anybody else. And, so obviously the Doctor's all discombobulated. Yeah, I like that word. And...
Shush.
What?
Shush.
Shush. Ah, interesting. I've compared it a little bit to the leaked version,
Okay.
where he actually comes out and just goes, shush, quietly.
Oh.
They double louder shush on.
Okay.
Um,
Actually, the volume of his voice is something I'd like to pick up later on.
okay. Also, the lesbian kiss.
Yeah.
Interspecies lesbian kiss wasn't a kiss in the cut version.
What was it?
It was just close. She was just breathing on her.
Oh.
And I'm glad that they actually went for the kiss, because the amount of outrage it's caused is brilliant.
I haven't seen any outrage.
No, I've seen response to outrage.
Okay.
And it's hilarious, quite frankly. I'm sorry, you're having a problem with a lesbian kiss. What about the fact she's a lizard woman?
And they're married.
And that, in Victorian times, I mean, dear God, some people have got tiny, tiny little brains.
Pudding brains.
Pudding brains, yes. For a while, Capaldi's basically being Matt Smith. There's no two ways about that. He buggers off and has an argument with, there's the wonderful scene in the bedroom where he's very manic and confused. And he's obviously caught sight of himself in the mirror, which apparently is angry.
No, don't look at that mirror. It's furious.
Oh, there's just so many gems of lines in this.
What is this room for? There's just a bed in here. Why?
Oh dear. When he and Vastra are sitting face to face and he's going, it'll be like dropping a piano. That's Tom. That is Tom Baker.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple of scenes like that, and I think he's very Series 12 Tom Baker to a certain extent. Series 12 Tom's different to all the other Toms, and there were a few. I think Gary Gillett or Clay Hickman said it right. In that Series 12 was the series before Tom knew he would be success.
Series 12, Tom Baker, the Doctor seems mentally preoccupied with something. He's very kind of. It's like there's always something going on in
He
his mind that.
underplays it.
You what? Sorry.
He underplays it.
Exactly, but yeah, it's like he's not entirely there.
Well, it's like he hasn't entirely got the confidence.
Yeah.
The actor hasn't got the confidence because he's not sure. And he's not sure how he's going to be taken by the public or anything else. It hadn't been shown, remember. Then you look at Series 13 and you see that there's a difference. Yes, Series 12 was actually quite special, I think. But Capaldi comes over, certainly towards the end, as Series 12 Tom. He's quieter. He's got the manic streaks and whatever. Manic Street Porters.
Manic Street Capaldi's Peters. Manic Street Peters, yes.
He's not fully formed yet. We're going on a journey with this guy, and I love that. You know, at the end of the episode, he hasn't turned around and said, I am the Doctor, whether you like it or not, or anything like that. We're still finding out. And I like that. It's going to be interesting to see where it goes. It really, really is. Clara starts to come into her own at last.
Best episode of Clara so far ever.
This Clara.
Yeah. But she's
I would
finally
say
given
Snowman
something
and
to
Asylum
do.
of the Daleks are still her best.
Yeah, okay, I'll give you that. But for this Clara, she's actually given something to do, and she's. Yeah, I didn't find her as annoying.
Good.
Or useless.
Good. So you're not going to have her wiped out now.
Well, it's inevitable. Everyone will be wiped out at some point.
I forgot about that. Sorry.
It's just a question of how far up the list you are.
You know you're giving away your evil plans, don't you?
It's all right. Do you know my counsellor's going to be having a field day if she watches this?
The trouble is, your counsellor might take you seriously.
Yeah, not to mention some other people. Carry on.
Yeah, well, we'll move on from that. You really do need to reply to that UN letter. Anyway, I felt the Paternoster gang. It's feeling like unit again. This was very much like Robot. Again, Series 12, but it was like Robot. We're setting the Doctor in familiar surroundings and familiar people, but they feel like they're on their way out.
I entirely agree. In fact, as much as I enjoy seeing those characters, I'm glad they weren't given their own series, and I'm glad they haven't. I just think they're getting a little bit tired now.
It may happen yet, but I think again it's so hard not to compare this to Tom coming in. It really is. I mean, I think Gatiss and Moffat both said that yes, this is essentially Doctor Who's second go at Robot.
Yeah.
Tone-wise, shifting the tone. And oh, hello, that's a thing. Gmail. Our chief scientist Adam Purcell has been busy.
Excellent.
Yes, you'll see the results of this at the end of this particular segment. Yeah. And so, whilst this has this edge of familiar, I have a feeling it's going to rapidly change. I'm really looking forward to this. I really, really am. What do you think?
Sorry?
What do you think?
What do I think?
Yes.
So, I shot you some initial thoughts yesterday.
It was painful.
And I've had a chance to watch it again today. I'm more than happy that we see a Doctor who isn't cast in stone from his first story. I'm quite happy that we go along and develop. My only concern, as I said in the previous episode, was that he's given the chance by the general audience to do so.
Yes.
Because, I made some comparisons between the Davison to Colin Baker regeneration. We've had an anniversary, very popular, and suddenly...
Bang.
And because people didn't give him the space to develop. As long as Capaldi's given the space to develop, I'm more than happy for him to do so.
I think more than that. I think it's not just giving them the space to develop. The BBC have got the confidence in the show to allow that to happen.
Yeah, and
whereas they didn't have last time. Plus, you had Eric Saywood script editing.
Precisely, yeah. So we are in a different environment now. It's just that there were too many parallels, really, that were kind of it looked like it could be heading anyway. But I digress. We've discussed that to death anyway.
We've discussed it to death.
The discussion
Dr.
of
Clench
death.
strikes again.
That'd be a good episode's title.
We've discussed it to death.
Yes, the discussion of death.
Wasn't that Boomtown?
I liked the ambiguity about the Doctor, in that the scene where where he acquires the tramp's clothes. We don't quite know how he did that.
We do.
The
He traded it
scene
for the
where
watch.
he says to the Clockwork Man,
Traded it for the watch.
"Sorry."
You traded
Well-
his for those clothes.
Well, I actually like to think that the Doctor duffed him up in a corner, and
I want your coat.
but I like the fact that he doesn't take any nonsense. I like the fact that there's a bit of ambiguity about whether the villain was pushed or whether he jump,
Yeah.
and that steely glaze the Doctor gave to camera, as if to say, "Don't mess with me," kind of thing. I liked that. I love the line. Oh, I might have to kill you later, so I thought you'd like a drink first. You didn't like that?
Yeah. No, I did. I also, when I watched this with Echo, Echo's mother half, you might hear her reactions to this. I don't know. We recorded the 16-minute thing in audio, and I'm not particularly happy with it. She was superb. I was awful. I've realised now that I think that's it for me on podcasting for a long, long time. But the scene where he abandons her.
Yeah.
Seriously, I thought, oh,
I was coming to
right.
that because there's a parallel there between when he says to the tramp, "Well, I'm cold. There's no point us both being cold," and then he says to Clara, "Well, there's no point us both being trapped." You know, and I just kind of thought, interesting. So yeah, I kind of like that ambiguity. As long as, like I said, my only concern is what the response of the general audience will be, because I just have this concern that, okay, and we've discussed this before, you and I, where fangirls, to use a derogatory term, and I don't want to put people down, but it's just that I just have this concern that there are certain fans out there who might just be watching it for the pretty boys.
Oh, of course there are.
You know?
There are very vapid people out there.
Exactly, and my concern is that those people will drift away, and that the show will be seen to not be as popular.
Maybe, but other people will come in because it's got that different tone to it.
Yeah.
Things change.
I also liked a lot what you said before. I liked the measured pace of the episode. It wasn't rushed. Somebody on some Facebook site, some social media site some time ago predicted that this episode would be like a series of Moffatisms all strung together, like like a rapid fire kind of Pond life. It wasn't like that at all. It was a proper story
we're back
that
to
had
normal
space
length
to breathe.
next week. We are back to a normal length next week.
Yeah. I will confess that I didn't immediately take to the character.
Which one?
I'm not saying.
Which
I don't know.
character?
It's just kind of difficult
His?
to place. It's difficult to place him.
Oh, right. Sorry, his
Yeah.
character. Sorry, you said the...
It's difficult to place him. So
Got to remember, initially he wasn't him.
I agree, and I'm not saying this is not me saying, oh no, I can't stand the Doctor anymore. This is a case of it's going to take us time to work out where he's coming from.
Yep.
I do also like the fact that quite often he'll say, no, that's the wrong question. The correct question is, and I like the fact that he kind of can look at things from a different angle. I like the new look of the TARDIS interior. It's much warmer.
Not enough round things.
Not enough round things, but there are lots of books, and the great shot of him sat up in his armchair at the top of the
Do you
ramp.
actually want to know what console room would suit him? The Paul McGann console room.
No, I'm going to say the one, the secondary console room from Baker era.
It's on too small a scale. That's why I say the McGann one.
See,
You see, I could imagine him haunting the back parts of that console room. You'll
Yeah.
see a glimpse between the ferns, and then moving down by the filing cabinets, and then going over to the statue. You could just see that he wouldn't. You wouldn't often see him right up there. He would haunt it. That's
Yeah,
what I
and
think.
I will. This isn't my favourite console room, but I think it looks better. It looks better now.
We'll
I,
see. It needs
I,
more round things.
it's more what? Sorry.
It needs more round
It
things.
does need more round things, and I don't know. I don't know where he's put them. Um,
Well, where do you put something you don't know what it is that it's for?
I don't know.
Wow, worrying, really.
But
Probably
all,
to Tom
all,
Hurt's
all in
present.
all, I would give this. Bearing in mind, I've only seen it
Hang on,
twice.
hang on. Are we doing a score? Are we?
I'd like to give it a score.
Oh, go on
Are
then.
you gonna give it? You're not gonna give it a score.
I don't. I never give scores.
I won't give a score then.
No. If you wish to give a score, give a score. The Doctor Sinister rating is, and now you've got to come up with your own little ident and cue and everything else like that.
Oh bollocks!
So the Doctor Sinister rating is
8 out of 10.
That's 8 out of 10, boys and girls. 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. I absolutely adored it. It's a grower. It's not one you're going to instantly fall in love with.
That's why
Yeah.
I want to stress that my rating is based on 2 viewings. My rating of the 11th hour, which I appreciate is a different thing entirely, that was immediately 10 out of 10.
Fair enough.
I think I can see that my rating on this will possibly grow.
I think so. Looking at it retrospectively compared to the rest of the series.
Yes.
Excuse me. We haven't mentioned the gatekeeper of the Neversphere. The woman at the end.
Missy.
Yeah, who basically danced around like Matt Smith. Around
Lots
the
of
con-
theories going around about her.
Let me guess. Rani, Romana.
Yeah, basically. And somebody
Mary
suggested,
Poppins.
at least 2 people I've seen have suggested that garden looked very console room like.
That's what I was saying. When she's dancing around with the umbrella,
Yeah.
that's Matt Smith dancing around his console. Yeah.
One thing I will say about the Clockwork dudes. So, in the original story, Girl in the Fireplace, these Clockwork robots had opened time portals and were trying to, get parts for their spaceship. I would have made it the same spaceship. I would have just said, okay, after the Doctor left, they ended up opening a time portal, going back in time. The ship got sucked back in time, and they've been struck there. Why make it a different ship? Because those robots, those Clockwork
Why
robots,
add an extra layer of complication and continuity?
but they'd
Why
gone a
not
bit
just have a
loopy, those
sister ship that
robots,
has to crash?
because they were trying to find parts for Madame de Pompadour to run their ships. They'd gone a little bit crazy. What are the chances that would happen on their sister ship as well?
It's the repair crew. And remember, the repair crew have been there since prehistoric times.
Yeah.
That's a very, very long time.
It's a small point, but I would have made it the same ship.
No,
But
no,
that's
I think that's one layer too many.
okay.
Myself.
Fair enough.
Anyway, one thing. What's Mr. Chris been up to?
Oh, I don't know. Should we look?
Well,
That's a bloody
hell
tricky
did you
situation,
get
I've got to say.
huh?
That's a really tricky situation he's got himself into.
Yeah. Daleks. Talking
Dalek.
of which, there's Daleks next week. One last thing,
Yep.
which we haven't discussed. The new title sequence, which I like.
Yep.
I prefer the original version simply because it didn't look so fake CGI'd. But yes, I like it. I like the fact that the basic ideas came from a fan. Great, wonderful. However, the theme tune I detest. Murray Gold, it is time to walk away from that piece of music. You do lovely incidentals, but you're completely and utterly tired out when it comes to the theme. Please leave it alone in future. Let someone else come along and have a go, because it's dreadful what you've done here. It's like a cat being strangled while scraping its nails down a blackboard. It's just terrible. And how anybody at BBC Wales said yes to this, Christ knows.
I'm wondering whether Murray Gold has got some photos somewhere in a cupboard.
Yeah. Explain why he doesn't get any older.
No, I don't mean that.
So as a result, as I've done with previous Murray Gold ones, we refused to use it on this show. Danny Stewart might come along and do a version of it which will actually sound nice. But until he does, I've done my own version based on something I saw on YouTube, which we will use until such time as something nice turns up for us to use. Whatever it is, it'll be better than the one we saw on the telly. And that was Doctor Who.
Peter Capaldi, 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 Peter Christopher Eccleston, Peter Capaldi, Peter Capaldi, Peter Capaldi.
That's my Acapeldi version.
It's brilliant.
I love it.
Brilliant.
It's not too much echo and reverb, though. I really went to town on that. I did it in half an hour just before we start recording.
I love it. It's really cool.
Oh, dear. So, I don't know if we're going to release a show during the week, are we?
Are we going to what, sorry?
Release a show during the week.
Um,
One of the previous
yeah,
ones?
what the hell, why not?
Okay. And then we'll be back again. Well, it's Hooverville on Saturday.
I might release a show. I might release the next one just prior to Hooverville.
Okay. Because we're not sure when we're going to record for Into the Dalek.
No.
So,
I would anticipate possibly Monday or Tuesday.
whatever's easiest for you, quite frankly.
But obviously our weekend's going to be a bit busy.
Yes, we're ferrying Derek Sherwin to and from Derby. That'll be fun. Sorry. Right, well, you'd better say goodbye, really, hadn't you?
Goodbye, really then, hadn't you?
Toodles.
You've got to fight for what you want, for all that you believe. It's right to fight for what we want, to live the way we please. As long as we have done our best, then no one can do more. And life and love and happiness are well worth fighting for. They're well worth fighting for.
Meh.